Welcome back, everybody. Lostboys Cypher Circle, episode 40. That's backwards in the camera, but you get the point. Episode 40, Lostboys Cypher Circle. Welcome back, everyone. If you didn't know, now you do. This is the show where I bring artists of all kinds, whether you have a poem, a rap, a song, fiction, nonfiction, artwork, whatever it is. This is the place to come get your thoughts, your feelings, and your artwork seen and heard. Free of judgment. If you want to come on the show, message me on Facebook at Dylan Lawler or email me at lostboy420x@gmail.com. That's Dylan Lawler on Facebook or lostboy420x@gmail.com. And you can go subscribe to us on Facebook, and we're live on Facebook and YouTube right now, so make sure you go subscribe and follow there. And then tomorrow I will be posting the episode on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Audible, iHeart, Pandora, all those fun places, anywhere you can get podcasts. So make sure you go check us out on those too. And a subscribe and a like and a follow and all that good shit always helps. So thank you, and we appreciate it. Also, keep a lookout for our sister show, basically. Lostboys presents Deep Cuts. It's the show where I take you deeper into the hearts and the minds of our artists who have been on before, by bringing them on one-on-one and just having a more in-depth conversation with them. They go for anywhere between an hour and a half usually. They're a lot of fun. I got like 5 guests lined up right now. We're trying to schedule a time to record. But yeah, keep a lookout for that. And make sure you, like I said, subscribe, follow, all that good shit. And also this summer, we've already dropped like a little introduction and a little like test footage for Lostboys Presents Lost in the Woods with Brandon Coombs and Dylan Lawler, my producer Brandon, and obviously me. It's an outdoor adventure vlog. We're gonna be going fishing, hiking, camping, all that good shit. And we're gonna record it with a GoPro. Maybe we might get a drone. There's gonna be some cool footage, so make sure you go check that out. And you can also subscribe to us, or sorry, not subscribe. You can also donate to us at Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. All the same tag, LostBoy420X. Don't forget the X, like X-Men. And that is it for our little introduction here. Before we get into the show, though, as I always say, this show does talk about a lot of triggering topics because it is very mental health based a lot of the time. And it is more than anything, it is a therapy session for us. So if there's anything that triggers you, click out. And that goes for artists performing, that goes for people watching. If there's anything that triggers you, feel free to click out at any time. No one's going to fault you for it in the slightest. We're just here to have a good time, but it's also a therapy session. So we hope nothing triggers you too badly. We can have a good night, but there's that. And kind of piggybacking off of that mental health topic, I always this show is about spreading my light, basically, and as corny as that sounds, using my artwork to lift other people up and give them hope. Let them express themselves. So I kind of just always like to say, anyone who's struggling out there, which seems to be all of us nowadays, keep your head up. I always used to say, keep your head down and your chin up, and keep pushing forward, because there have been bad times before. There have been dark times before, and we have gotten through them before, and we will get through these too. And just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. This too shall pass. And you may not feel like there's anyone in your life that you can talk to, but there's always like a friend, a family member, a coworker, your dog, your cat, your fucking fish. There's always somebody you can talk to. And sometimes it's just hard to reach out. And so I hope you guys reach out to those people in your lives and talk to them, because they will listen. And you can message me. I'll talk to you. You can also, if you're looking for more professional guidelines, you can text 988 or go to their website, lifelinecrisis.com, and they have trained professionals on hand to help you and give you some guidance. And then there's also BetterHelp.com. And what they do is they hook you up with like an online therapist in 2 days. And if you don't like the therapist, they'll switch you out with a new one till you find someone that's cool for you to talk to and that you enjoy and can express yourself to. So I hope some people go find some help there. And yeah, let's get on with the show. Oh, also during the show, if you want to ask us anything, comment on anything, throw some fire emojis down when people drop their shit. Comment section. So yeah, let's get on with the show. Our first guest tonight, she's been on quite a few times before, I think. Now, Miss Nasira, she's an author and a poet. She's got 6 books on Amazon. That might be more by now. I'm not sure. She's working on stuff. We'll let her talk about that. But the books she's got right now that I know about are the Kindra books, which is 1, 2, and 3, a series. My Beloved Curse, The Longing, and Malady of Frankenstein. I think it's Malady. And you can go follow her on Instagram. Jeez, my computer just tweaked out on me. Sorry, guys. You can go follow her on Instagram at Mistress to the Pen, but it's spelled like MZSTEZ 2TH E, and get her up here. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I always feel better when I start the show.
Yep.
There's always the before show like that. You got to come down from your whole work day or your whole. In my case, I'm not working right now. I have a broken foot, but I come down for my whole day, try to forget everything that's going on, and then I have the before show jitters, and then I feel so good when I start the show. It's like I said, a therapy session for me. So, and you're one of my favorite guests, so I'm happy you were able to join us tonight.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, for people who haven't been here before or haven't seen you before, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on?
Well, I am an author of suspense and horror romance. I write in 2 genres, and I'm just getting into African American romance because my publisher has opened up that window. So right now I'm working on a series that's like an urban Cinderella without the music, song, and dance and the magic. But you won't actually know it is until the end of the book when it's in the at the end, the reference to it, and then you realize you've been watching. You've been
That gives
reading.
you like a reread ability too, because what I like books like that where you find something out at the end and it completely changes your whole perspective on the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you going to market it as that? Because if you market it as that, then the like surprise will kind of be ruined in a way.
It won't, because the title of the book is called Cindy, but it's spelled Syndi. So you won't get the drift that is Cinderella until the end of the book, and that's when you'll be surprised that when you start going back over what you've read, you'll be like, wow, that was Cinderella. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's gonna make me want to like reread it too, is because I'll be like, oh, and that lines up with that, and I'll be able to like go back and put the pieces together afterwards. I really like that idea. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's got the evil stepmother with the asshole sisters and the Prince Charming and
is it urban? It's like modern day, right?
It's modern day. Yeah, it's modern day. So that's you cool. Do have the godmother, quote unquote. She'll be there, but no music, no magic, just straight up urban ghetto Cinderella.
Urban ghetto Cinderella. I like that. That's what you should market it as. You just put that on the back of the book. Ghetto Cinderella.
Urban ghetto Cinderella. It takes place up in the hood, up in Baldwin Hills in Los Angeles, and it just goes all over the place. So yeah, It's an urban ghetto Cinderella story, and I love every line of it. It's just flowing all by itself. It's getting really good.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. So what are you sharing with us tonight?
Today I'm going to read two pieces. This first one is a poem that I wrote. Um, it's amazing how I can have conversations with people just out of the blue, and then come up with a poem that kind of relates to it. I wrote this when I was in a women's group a while ago. Never did anything with it. My poetry for me is more like my sidekick to my writing. So it's like sometimes I'll be in the middle of something and I'm taking a break, and all of a sudden a poem will hit me and I'll just go ahead and put it down. But this was based on a conversation of four women. All of us were just kickback, and then of course the conversation just kind of shifted. And this piece is called "It's Hard to Be a Lady."
All right, cool. I'll drop myself out of here and let you get to it.
Okay. It's hard to be a lady, difficult at that. I got statistics from the government about being a woman and being black, walking around with a bullseye on my back. Each way I turn, I have rights that I have to earn, those rights that are not even given equal. Still, the same rights that are lavished on most men are free because I'm a woman, it's denied me. It's hard to be a lady with no good men who try to get all up in my head, trying to fill me up with fantasies, saying enticing things just to get me into my bed, but not really caring if I even get some head. It's hard to be a lady when these bitches are twits that call themselves friends, family members, and bosses, and oh yeah, my sister, and all that shit. We can't ruin you. Who can't run your life because they have no self control, who smile in your face and really secretly wish they can have your role. It's hard to be a lady. Can't get no respect. Can't walk in parks or take walks out in the dark. Can't trust house parties or wait at night for a bus without coming up missing, murdered, raped, and dumped. It's hard to be a lady forever scorned by those pissed off because they forever won't forgive the reason why Adam had to get tossed. It's hard to be a lady, and all that I'm saying, you know that this is true, but I have a way of getting around it, and this might not work for you. But let me let you in on a little secret of what I do. Because me trying to be a lady with this life as it runs, knowing full well that I can't bite my tongue, and going around accepting everyone's shit from all the dumbass brain dead twits, me being a lady, you can fucking forget it. I don't have time. This life has been rough. I deserve better. And sometimes that means that being a lady is like the weather. I don't have time for prissy things and all that stuff. And I roll up my sleeves and dig in the dirt to carve out a life for me and to fight to make others value my own self worth, to chase and capture my dreams. And that's my heart's desire. And hopefully, God will bless me with love that will put fuel to my fire. Some men are put off by the aggressiveness that is me. So answer me this question. Is it a lady that acts like a lady? Is that what you really need? Let's just say, for an example, just follow my lead. If you were a lion in the jungle with a wife that was a lioness, and on the other side, there's a sheep. It's been days with no eats, and the only thing you could think of is that you are starving for some meat. As the king of the beast, it's the woman that goes out and slay the meat. So tell me the truth. In order to eat, what would you send, Mama Lion or the sheep?
Ooh, give it up. Can I get some fire emojis in that comment section, please? That was fucking fantastic. Um, that I first of all, the first thing I want to say about it is I think that that touched a lot of people, and I think every woman that really like. I think they appreciate you standing up and speaking. It's like I say all the time, like that's kind of our job as artists. Um, but I mean, uh, what one thing I did love that like my favorite thing I had a couple I have my notebook here and I like try to jot notes, but like it goes fast. Um, so first note is the rhyme scheme, though it was like I loved how subtle it was, but and it kind of like it was is you hit the beat on at the end of every like at the end of every verse instead of every like line, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It was like speech, 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 or like exposition, 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 rhyme, exposition, exposition, rhyme, exposition. And I loved how you like incorporated that so like elegantly in that piece. Um, and the other thing I liked was that the mention of the lionesses are the ones that actually go out and hunt the meat, not the everybody thinks, and that's weird because the lion is like the king of the jungle or whatever, but his girls out there doing all the fucking work, and I love that juxtaposition and how that it was a great way to tie up the piece and kind of like flip the beginning of what you said, like the beginning of the piece, and
Mhm.
flip it. And I thought that was a great juxtaposition. But yeah, most of all, I just think that it was just a really, a piece that needed to be heard, a piece that needed to be heard, and it reminds me of a lot of these videos I've been seeing lately of like, men putting on those period cramp simulators or those contraction simulators or whatever, and it's just like, and then the girl puts it on and it's like turns it up to 10 and she's just like but like I honestly like, and I loved all the instances you named of how it is hard to be a woman. But yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is birthing. You grow a person inside of you. Like our whole human race is created by women. The
Mhm.
entire human, like, I mean, obviously you need a man's help. With science nowadays, you probably don't. They can probably just like, you probably don't even need a man or a woman nowadays. They just like make a fucking clone of somebody and fucking stick it in a tube and it's ready in 6 months. And you can clone your dog. You can clone your dog for like 10K. It's a real thing for a hair sample and 10K. You can clone your dog. So, but no, I loved how you did that juxtaposition of how women, like, society is being carried on the backs of women, and then like the lion, where comparing it to the lioness, where she's literally their means of survival. But yeah, no, that was a great piece. I loved it. I'm bringing these other artists up to see what they thought about it. um Brandon, what you think? Well, can you hear us?
I'm muted.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Here, hold on. I'll mute you. You're good. I can hear you now. Oh, maybe not. Technical difficulties, everyone. Oh, there we go. Hold on. There you go. You're good. What'd you think of the piece? Hello? I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can hear us. James, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
What
Yep.
did What did you think of the piece?
I was captivated by it. I felt like I was drawn in to the woman that it was going through the experiences, and it just sent chills down my back. I just like, wow. I was drawn right into it, and I've never really have felt a poem to bring me in to the opposite sex to experience what the author wanted the audience, the reader, to experience. So I really appreciate that, and it was very powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. Brandon, you got your mic, or you got your mic working over there? No, we still can't hear you. I don't know. Well, you get your mic situated. I what's that? I can we? It's not on our end, right? Because you can hear me just fine, right? Okay, yeah. No, yeah. I can't hear you. Um, maybe try clicking out and coming back into the stream. Um, maybe that'll work. Um, but in the meantime, um, we're gonna bring up Mr. James here in just a minute while Brandon or Mr. Biggs gets his mic situated. Um, so, and I'm sorry if I butcher your last name. You'll have to correct me. Lawrence Batchtill, or L. James Batchtill, as he goes professionally. He's a poet, a painter. He does pottery and ceramics. He's an like paint. Or I already said painting artist. He sculpts things with ceramics, and he's just an all-around general craftsman. You can follow him on Facebook at Lawrence Bechtel. Bechtel. Oh God, I'm so sorry, man. Follow on Instagram on his Reddit page at X Larry Bear X, or visit his Quora page, Lawrence dash 1872. And you can visit his LinkedIn website, Lawrence. Don't make me say it again. Lawrence Betchel, some other, and here's some other communities that he frequents and is a member of, where he it's on Reddit, where he from my understanding, he mentors people and helps them with their work, creativity, and whatnot. So the pages on Reddit are Dark Poetry, r/poetry_critics, r/OC Poetry, r/poems, and r/sad poems. So make sure you go check that out and get some guidance and some mentorship, and follow him and all that good stuff. And I'm going to play his flyer and shut the fuck up now. Hey, so how bad did I butcher your name?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and it's very typical of the way people say my last name. But it's Bechtel. It's very hard.
Oh, okay,
E.
so it's a K sound. My bad. Okay.
Nope. Nope. It was good. No problem.
All right.
But
So,
I really appreciate the opportunity to be on the show, especially when it focuses on mental health. As a person that struggles every day with mental health issues, my piece comes in the form of poetry, and I'm glad to be able to be on the show here and share some of my work.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's great to have you. So I mean, you're new to the show. You're our newest guest, 40th episode. So welcome. It's a great community. It's great to have you here. You want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you got going on, your work and whatnot for everybody out there?
Absolutely. I did a lot of college work dealing with art therapy because I wanted to focus on why do I have mental illness and why am I having these experiences that other people aren't, and how can I find peace with it? And I got a bachelor's degree in psychology and computer science, and then went on to get a master's in education, and really just kind of put poetry, creative writing on the back burner for 30 years. And just, I would say in the last couple years, struggling with mental health again. It's surface, it's evil head, if you will. in my life, and I kind of turned back to the art therapy and kind of focused on my skill sets to release my grief and resolve issues and be able to face the day. And so I'm really excited that I've been able also to help others, especially with art therapy, to develop their voice, to inspire them to reflect on what their troubles are, what they're experiencing are, because to a lot of people, it's their reality, and it differs from person to person, and their experience is much different than 70% of the population, but they're unique in which they have a voice that be able to express themselves even with their mental health issues.
Yeah, no, that's important, and that's what it's all about too. It's like I've been saying since the beginning of the show. It's mainly the first thing that it should be a therapy for yourself
Yes.
to get that your own anguish, and then if you can also put it out into the world and help other people through their own struggles, that's a plus. That's a bonus. That's something as artists that like. That's what makes artists the most happy is when our art is able to affect somebody in another way. And in my case, there are some people that make art to make people angry or make people sad or whatever, but in my case, I like when my art lifts someone up and gives someone hope or helps them through some dark shit that they're going through. And that's my goal. So I appreciate you and having the same goal as that. And great, like I said, welcome to the community, because that's what Lostboys is all about. It's people feel lost in the world, and just this is some place to come all be lost together.
Absolutely.
What are you going to be sharing with us tonight?
So the first one I wanted to share is what matters most, and it's inspired by the Stephen Covey kind of self-help, leadership development, professionalism, and so forth, by the name What Matters Most. As a person that survived cancer twice, struggled 30 odd years with bipolar, with major depression, class 1, with unfortunately 10 years ago, in a high state of mania, I embezzled some money and have come to face my criminal charges, and it's changed my life. It's basically destroyed me, but I guess from the ashes it rises. I struggled to come back, and I have, and found my voice, and my muse has been my grief and the changes in my life. So this poem came to me as a way to inspire other people to deal with those big things in our life and not sweat the small stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good sentiment. A good sentiment. Not make mountains out of molehills. Because you can. I've also been a recovering addict, multiple times, not just once, but multiple times. Also, in and out of foster care systems when I was younger, and psychiatric. So I've been through my fair share of diagnoses and all that, but in the line of what I was talking about with addiction is I love the and I've never been to a 12-step program, but I love the Serenity Prayer, and I love the part that says, grant me the what is it, the patience to
grant me the
I don't want to misquote it. That's why I want. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to get it 100% right. But to accept the things I cannot change. That part is a big part of carrying out life and getting through things and handling grief is, there's only so many things that you can really affect. And, there, some stuff, it's happened, and you can either let it destroy you, or like you said, rise from the ashes, turn into a phoenix and let it make you stronger and build you up, and use those experiences as the fire to, the little lantern to guide you through the darkness, but yeah, absolutely. I want to drop myself out of here now, and I'll let you get to it.
Okay, very good. What matters most? In the quiet rooms where shadows play, where life's bright fabrics fray and gray, there lies a truth, soft-spoken yet vast. What matters most is the present and not the past. Gotta move my thing down here. Up. Trying a new program here. I'm to get my poems into order here. All right. When whispered diagnosis cuts like the knife, we cling to the throbs of our tender lives. It's the warmth of a hand, love's gentle clasp, the silent conversations in every grasp, facing the specter, the end unknown. Amidst the fear, we're not alone. Our partner's gaze, a steadfast lighthouse, guiding through the storms to peace we rose. Families embrace the circle unbroken, words unneeded, love is the token. Children's laughter, the purest existler. Can't talk tonight. In the eyes, life's portrait is richer. Our pets, with eyes of the simplest creed, offer comfort without the need to plead. Their silent understanding, a balm for the soul. In their unjudging presence, we are whole. The sun's caress on a weary cheek, golden moments when words can't speak. The beach where waves hush our deepest fear, each tide retreat, bowering our tears. And the wind, oh the wind, with its wandering flight, whispers of adventures of day and night. It tells us stories of where it's been, carries our prayer, unseen but keen. So let this be our solace, our heart's soft hymn, as we dance with the fate on the perceptive brim. For this ballet of breath and time, it's love, life's essence, that makes the climb to find us whole. The end.
Fantastic. Can I get some hearts and some fire emojis in the comment section, please? Thank you. That was amazing, man. I really liked it. I really loved the word choice and the vocabulary in it. And it was very elegantly strung together. The word choice. I found it almost like I don't want to say lullaby, because I don't mean to make it seem like I'm dismissing it in any way, but it had a very like soothing. Good word, Brandon. Thank you. Soothing.
Absolutely.
Very soothing connotation to it, and it's very soothing, relaxing, and also uplifting. It was very uplifting, and I liked how you like we were talking about, you in that piece, you were using your craft to help and uplift other people and guide them through the light. I really like the imagery of the lighthouse and the stormy seas. I've used that metaphor like 5 or 6 times in like three songs that I can think of off the top of my head. I love that metaphor. and I also loved the the illustration of the little things that bring us joy, like children's laughter, or I think you mentioned like a pet, or
Yes.
right, like just these little things. These are the things that are worth. These
Got
are the things that are worth living for. These are the things worth living for. I have a piece. It's 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 partly comedy and satire, but also like it's also like a you know a piece where I kind of try to help some people and guide some people through the light, but in a humorous way. It's called "Suicide Note of a Chronic Procrastinator," and I go through it and I go through and I name like and in that piece it's things like finding a new show to watch or a new bag of Doritos but it's the same concept. It's the little things that are worth living for. Little things that give us joy that are worth living for. And I love how you illustrated that. And I also love the imagery of the wind and how it carries everywhere and it carries everyone's stories with it.
And,
That was
and I remember sitting there in the hospital doing chemo one day, and you're sitting there for 6 hours in a lazy boy recliner hooked up to an IV, and I look out and I see a plastic trash bag just kind of floating in the air doing this little dance, and thinking, boy, I bet it has a lot of tales to tell and a lot of stories that it's seen. And that just has always been there in my mind, and I was really kind of excited to be able to bring it into this poem.
I've always wondered I've always wondered in SpongeBob when you see those little like those dust things roll by or in those desert movies when you see those little dust things roll by, like where have
Yeah,
those been? Where have those things been? Where did they come from?
yep,
Yeah, I like that. That's cool,
yep,
man.
yep.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like that piece and I really appreciated it. Both as an artist and as someone who struggles with mental health. Um, I'm gonna bring these other artists up and see what they
Absolutely.
thought about. Brandon, do you have your mic working?
Man, I sure hope so.
All right, we can hear you. Hell yeah! What'd you think of the piece?
It was good. It kind of had like the nature speaking to you. Like you said, the wind whispers and the waves washing. What were you saying about the waves washing away? What did you say there, James? What did you say there?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
Right.
I'm gonna bring it up again. This is one gosh, wrote in 2005, so almost 10 years ago, and I brought it out recently and been able to share it with a lot of people that have been going through cancer treatments, and hopefully, and I get a lot of good feedback from it. It's inspired them to look at life a little different, from your family there next to you, to your pets, to your partner, just those things in life that bring you joy. Like for me, it was going to the beach. Um, so the beach where waves hush our deepest fears. And I
That's
remember
good.
going to the beach a lot because it gave me such
Waves.
peace to be there.
So that's huge. And you talked about so being in the present now matters, and I guess because you mentioned the cancer battles and everything. Like
Yep.
you have to live for the now. You can't
Right.
you can't rely on tomorrow, and you can't dwell in yesterday, right? So
Right. Right.
fabrics fray and gray. Like we're getting older. We get worn. I feel that in my physical body as well as my spirit at times. At times my spirit feels that way as well. So that gray and that fray, the silent conversations,
Hmm.
kind of like some third eye or some telepathic nuances there. So I liked it. I enjoyed your piece.
Thank you. And the following line is, each tide's retreat borrowing our tears. And it just seems like when I sat there on the beach and the waves come crashing in, it just cleansed my fears out of there, that I'm not going to die, I'm going to live. And oh, the tears that just seem to go away every time that the tide comes in. it just seems like it just took it from me. It just
You got
came
you
in, took the
got my
tears
man
away,
Brandon.
and
You got my man Brandon crying over here.
it brings tears back to me too. So I apologize.
I honestly, I really appreciate you opening up with us so much about your life and your experiences and what you've been through and how it affects you. Like that's what this show is all about. I have tried. There are many episodes where I try very hard not to cry. I think I have cried on only two episodes. I've actually shed tears. But that's what this show is about. It's about coming, coming out here and being open and honest and expressing yourself and the things that you've gone through and how they affect you in the most raw and visceral way possible. And that's through art, in my opinion. And that's amazing. That's what you've done here tonight. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We'll catch you again oh wait, no, Nasira, you didn't even get to talk about the piece. What did you think?
Sure.
I know I've said this before. There's nothing more devastating than you can hear when someone says that you have cancer. When it was introduced to me, because I'm a cancer survivor, I had renal cell carcinoma, and I was blessed that all they took from me was just a little about that much of my kidney when they went in there. The miracle of it is that it was alive and kicking when they took the piece from me, but then when they went in to do the surgery, for some odd reason, it died while I was in there. Wow. So they just said, "Oh, you're just going to miss about 1/4 of an inch," which was cool, and that was my blessing. And I this was back in 2018, and I did this with God's blessing solely. No chemo, no nothing. They just went in there and took it, and I've been in remission since 2018.
Very good.
I know that there are a lot of differences between us as human beings, besides our race, our color, our culture, what we eat, how we dance. There's one thing that is god awful that seems to be able to unite us as human beings, and that's cancer. We know someone that's had it, survived it, succumbed to it. We know someone in our family, we know friends. We are connected with that disease, and it can definitely put a mental strain on you because you don't know what's actually going to happen. And it's such a fear trigger that even the word is just frightening. And I definitely understand when you're saying that you were at the beach and when your tears were being taken from you, that was your release. That was your saying, okay, I'm not going to let this get to me. I'm going to deal with this head on straight, and I'm not going to live in my own sorrow. And that's the beautiful part of it. That was just you just saying, hey, fuck it. I'm here right now. And there are so many things around me that I need to be thankful for that I'm just not going to let this crowd me. And that's a beautiful thing. That is. I loved it.
Absolutely.
And I found that when I was facing, the critical phases of what I was dealing with, that I became very clear and I became very in tune to just the smallest things around me that gave me comfort. It was spiritual. It was, it was a miracle. Very touching.
It was beautiful.
Well, that is a blessing for, both of you. Thank God that you guys are both now in good health. And like he said, keep using your art form to. Now that you're in physical health, you have to work on your mental health.
Absolutely.
So because they say, and not just with cancer, but with any type of physical condition, really the power of positive thinking really can heal you physically. It sounds corny as hell, but the power of positive thinking and happy thoughts really have a enormous effect on your physical health and your body's ability to heal or the rate at which it heals. So yeah, healthy mind, healthy body. And congratulations to both of you for being in remission and being healthy.
Yay.
I will catch you guys again in a few minutes, and that is going to bring us to our next new guest for the night. Brannon, not Brandon. Keep the D out of your mouth. Brannon Biggs, or as he goes by his artist name, Dream Biggs. That's 2 G's. Poet. He's a poet and an MC. You can follow him on. Oh Jesus! Every time I try to do that, my computer glitches out on me. You can follow him on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or X as it's called now, at _dream_bigs with 2 G's, and then another underscore. You can subscribe to him on YouTube at the same thing, _dream_ big or _bigs_. And then you can find him on Apple Music at Dream Biggs. You can visit his author page at missthemarkrecords.com, or not author page, but the equivalent to his artist page. And that's also at Dream Biggs. So I'm gonna play his flyer and get him up here. Oh, here we go.
Holy moly guacamole. 5-year-old me would keep roly-polies in the pocket, homie. What else? Well, besides them roly-polies, a couple Crayolas, some toy soldiers, some sand, and a rocket. Parents hovering over me asking if I know what no means while demanding that I stop it. 5-year-old Brandon, man, a cannon couldn't stop me. Look at my hand. It's a picture of 5-year-old Brandon my dad took on his Canon camera. You want this copy? No, take it. I got another one. I got a pile of them. And for reference, that other child is my brother Tyler. And while he wasn't quite as wild as me, shirtless, shoeless, climbing trees, dodging bees, I was a comic. I was 5Z, waka waka, coming at you like a kamikaze, living young, wild, and free. But most importantly, and unapologetically, I was me. I remember my papa would smile at me, asking me, "Where's the beef?" I look at him dumbfounded like, I don't know. Where'd you leave it? Was it Sesame Street? Because under the books is where I'm sleeping. And those same words that I've learned have turned into my therapy. I never wanted to grow up, and I wouldn't have if I was aware it'd be so tough. I wish I was still surrounded by giants all fee-fi-foing, just knee-high growing, somewhere I'm not supposed to be in, but still sneak my toes in. In tow is my G.I. Joes, and I'm gonna play while I free my bros and I defeat my foes. I'm getting sleepy. I think I'm about to go night-night and have a dream about oceans and wake up freezing cold because I peed my clothes again.
God damn, yo, that shit is so fire. That shit is so good, man. When you sent me that, dude, I was sending it to everybody. I was like, yo, check this guy out. Check what I'm getting on my fucking show this week. That was the fucking nostalgia, the message, but the rhyme scheme and the cadence. Oh my God, man, that's where it really shines. Like the rhyme scheme and the cadence on that one are just top tier. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
That one's funny because me and my son were freestyling. So that's my background is freestyle rap. Many nights, like you said, like just having beers, smoking, drinking, whatever, carrying on and freestyle rapping. And he and I were doing that. And that just came about to where I was like, you know what? I'm going to make that. I'm going to make it about being 5 years old. And it worked. So yeah, it was easy to write. Like once I got into it, I was like, oh man, this is easy. Like just come on, let's go, let's eat.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that rolls off the tongue and sticks in your head too.
Right. It was easy to write.
We keep roly-polies in the pocket, homie. Yo, it's so good, dude. It's so good. Oh man. Yeah, yo, so first of all, thanks for sending that to me and having that as your flyer, because that was fantastic. And thanks for being here and welcome to the community. Welcome to Lostboys. I put 2 hands up because I never point to the right side. This side. There we go. Lostboys. Welcome to Lostboys. You're part of the group now, man. It's great to have you.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So other than what I did in my introduction, or you want to add to it, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm Brandon, like you said, aka Dream Bigs, aka the word of mouth God. I'm the type of poet that will find you on the street or that will meet you and ask if I can share with you face to face. I put out an album about a year ago, like you mentioned. It's on Apple Music, and what you just saw was my producer and I are kind of making those little short videos that are more Facebook, TikTok friendly. Got some flashy lights in the background for the people that like that aren't just cerebral with it, where they need the visuals too. I coach these days. I do my poetry and I coach baseball. We're 10-0 today. We won our game today, so we're 10-0. We got 2 more games, and if we win, I won't look like this anymore because I promised the boys that I would let them shave my head. So, maybe
Well, good
you
luck.
see
I
me.
don't know if I'm
I hope
saying
so.
good luck to winning or not winning, but good luck.
I'm down. I am. If they can do it, I will proudly be bald headed for the time being. So
they going all the way down to the scalp with it.
I'm gonna let them scalp me down. I'll probably put a guard on it. I'll probably put like a 1 on it just so they don't cut me. Because they're they're 9-year-old boys.
Eighth of an inch, just a little.
Right. Just leave something on there for me. So, but yeah.
Oh yeah, my dad. I think he wears it a little bit longer nowadays, but he rides a motorcycle and he always wears a do-rag. So he's always keeping it like that 1/8 of an inch length.
Keep it short. Yep.
It was crazy because when I was younger, when I was 5 years old, my dad had longer hair than this. He had the Uncle Jesse, from Full House, like the whole the John Stamos, the late 90s, early 2000s John Stamos, and then he went all the way to motorcycle, buzz cut, and it was just like such a fucking crazy change for me. But
right.
But yeah, man. Good luck with that, and maybe next time we see you on the show, you'll be a skinhead. Maybe I shouldn't say. I don't know if skinhead is okay to say.
I get it.
Don't clip me.
I'm taking no offense to that, and I didn't think that's what you meant, but yes, I get it.
Anyway, what are you going to be sharing with us tonight, man?
So I'm going to be sharing. This is the first. So when I decided I was going to become or try my hand at spoken word, this is the first poem that just came out of me. These things don't. I don't know. It's like they manifest themselves. So this manifested itself out of me. I don't write. I don't physically write anything. It's all here. Everything that you're going to hear from me has never been written down. It's about my friend who just doesn't believe in himself, man. I mean, that's the title of it. Like, he just does not believe in himself at all. Like, I went over to his house the other night, and I was kind of pumped up because we won our baseball game. My son had done well, so I didn't want to go home and go to sleep. So I'm like, hey, man, are y'all still drinking beer from golf? And they're like, yeah, come over. So I went over, had a few beers, and I'm like, hey, let's go sing some karaoke. And he's like, oh, man, I can't go with these shoes on, or I can't, I need jeans, or I need that. You see what I'm saying? So he's just an unsure person. So I wrote this about him, essentially. Okay. He's also my freestyle buddy, and he's also one of my oldest friends. A real friend. Hey man, I need you to help me move type friend. They'll come over and help you load and unload the truck. So
yeah, it's good to have those. It's good to have those, man, and it's good to have people in your life that will notice when notice when you could achieve more and you're capable of more and you don't see it in yourself and push me. I got a friend in the comments right now. He's a regular on the show. Caleb is one of my favorite artists and one of my best friends, and he always just pushes me like artistically and just in life to just do more and accomplish more and be better and vice versa. I push him the same way. It's just great to have that in your life.
We need it.
This one's called "You Don't Believe in Yourself."
Yes.
All right, cool. I'll draw myself out of here and let you get to it.
All right, cool. All right. All right. So the problem is you don't believe in yourself. You need to take a leap from the shelf where you've routed yourself all this time and believing you've doubted yourself. Now you break trees blowing loud for your health. Snorting that powder as well. It's got your brain cloudy as hell, man. Put that away. Do it today. Wake up tomorrow. Be proud of yourself. Man, you my motherfucking dog. Never walk out with your tail tucked, man. Hop out the shower and yell, fuck the world. Stop getting fried like a fucking churl. Start kicking ass like a bucking burro. And it's nonsense if you think I'm on my soapbox just talking pompous. I'm the hot cheerleader with the pom-poms cheering you on. Short skirt underneath, she's naked. What I'm trying to say is the world is yours and it's free for the taking, but I ain't speaking on raping. I'm speaking on taking the world by the balls and whirling them all around with no wherewithal until you tear them off. I'm talking about getting vicious like one of those small terrier dogs who's just scared of all the visitors. If you can't make it, then fake it like a politician. Create a ball of shit and polish it. Take your fear and abolish it. Make you see clear through this dark abyss because someone's got to pilot this pirate ship. Coming for all the booty, man, the cannons. It's your call to duty. I call it how I see it, and that's how I saw it. Truly yours, Brandon.
Well, goddamn. Get those fire emojis down in that fucking comment section. That was fucking fire. And again, man, your rhyme scheme and your cadence is just so on point. It's so fucking good. It reminded me, what's that song again, Brandon? It reminded me of a new song by I don't know if you know Joyner Lucas and Jelly Roll. There's a new song by Joyner Lucas and Jelly Roll, and it's a conversation. It's called "Best for Me," and it's a conversation between him and his friend who's struggling with addiction. And the thing I love about Joyner Lucas is he does like the both sides of the conversation or whatever. But it reminded me a lot of that, of a lot of the first verse where like he's talking to his friend and it's like, come on, man, you got to get the fuck up. You got to cut this shit out. Like, get the fuck up off your feet. Let's go. And like
on this new album, is that on the newest album? Not Now I'm Busy, or
newest Joyner Lucas album, yeah. It's
the newest. It's the one that just dropped the other day, right?
Yeah, the cover where he has blood on his face.
Yes.
Yeah, that's yeah. And it's featured with I would say my favorite artist of all time at the moment, Jelly Roll. He features in that song.
Jelly's killing it these days. Everybody started hating on him because he kind of started making more country records, I guess, and he stopped rapping, as much. But I actually enjoy both sides of Jelly. Yeah. I enjoy the old hard-nosed rap Jelly, but I also really enjoy what he's doing now because, like you said on that track, and I do know what you're talking about. He allows others to kind of like take his story and then make their own story about his story. You know what I mean? Because that's what I feel that's about. I don't think Joyner is from that. I think he was more talking about Jelly in that. So yes, it's almost like he's a muse, which in my opinion, my friend is a muse for me. Like I go over to his house and I'm like, he's the only person that's really ever heard me freestyle. Does that make sense? Like where I feel like I can be my total and absolute self, that I can say the most effed up things. And I don't have to worry about him being like, whoa, bro, like me and you aren't friends anymore because you said some fucked up shit. And I'm like,
me and my buddy Brendan, my producer over here, he's me and him are like that. Like I can't, and he doesn't. I can literally, because before the show, usually if I'm pick out a piece to read, I'll go over it. The day of the show, I'll go over it so many times, and he must get so fucking tired of hearing it. But he never tells me. He just every time he just has. It never gets old for him. He just always has a hype reaction when I'm done spitting. Every time, it's great. Like I said, it's great to have someone like that in your life. You need someone like that in your life. And that's the thing is like trying to pull him up from, his darkness is as much for him as it is for you, because it's like, you need him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Come back, bro. I need you. I also kind of reminded me of Eminem's song, I Need a Doctor. where it's 2000. I think it's 2010, 2011. But Dre's
Yeah.
in like a tank, and he's like talking. It's like, come back, Dre. I'm dying. I need you. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, Dr. Dre's son. Yeah, Dr. Dre's son had died
Yeah.
of an overdose, and it sent him kind of spiraling there. Yes, I remember. That's a great song, actually.
Yeah. No, that's it. It reminded me a lot of that too. Where M was just like, you're supposed to be my fucking mentor. Like and
I need you to remember who you are.
Right.
You're supposed to be my mentor. Now I need you to remember who you are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you delivered that message wonderfully too. This is pre-recorded, or I mean, not pre-recorded, but it's being recorded. And at any point, you can feel free to show this to him, or I don't know if you have read that to him, or.
It's difficult. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll show him this. He's very aware of it, but he tends to shell up. He tends to shell up, and like sometimes when we drink a few, he's like, "Oh my God, that is so dope." And he's like, "Man, I'm so glad you keep telling me that, because I can only really share it with him when he's plastered, and then he doesn't really remember it." And
yeah, no, I get that though. I get that. It's sometimes it's the only time you can let yourself be open. You know what I mean?
And vulnerable. Become vulnerable.
Right. And I can understand that as much as it sucks, and it would be much better if you would be able to be that vulnerable when he was sober. The fact that like he was saying, he take what he said to heart about I because he said that he loves the fact that you keep telling him that, and that's real. No matter whether he's drunk or not, that's some real shit, because and I don't even know the guy, and I know that he is glad that you're there to keep telling him that over and over again, so he doesn't forget it, and that you're there for him. So just keep being there for him, keep reading that to him, and just. Fantastic job, man. That was fucking amazing. I'm gonna bring these other guys up, girl and guy.
Well, I was waiting for that famous mic drop at the end. I just pictured that. It would have been a really cool ending to see that, but it was very powerful. I don't have a lot of experience writing freestyle poetry. It's a very modern form of poetry, but I had a lot of students gravitate to that because they get frustrated with trying to set up the rhymes and the prose and the stanzas correctly and make it flow. They get frustrated and they're like, I'm going to go freestyle. I'm going to do it this way. And I applaud them because they found their voice. And I really felt that you really do come through with freestyle poetry, and your voice is clear. The emotions are there. I felt it. I was part of that, and I really appreciated hearing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. I had to let go of a relationship because of drugs. You're his Jiminy Cricket in a way, because you are constantly being his conscience when you know he needs it, without ragging on him about it. I think that's great when you can do that. I had to let a relationship go because the guy that I was seeing at the time turned to drugs because he couldn't get it out of his head. He had a car accident where he accidentally killed a kid. And the depth of the guilt that he felt was just overwhelming. And he took the drugs because of that reason. And he would not allow himself to forgive himself. It wasn't his fault. The kid just shot out in the middle of the street in front of him. And it wasn't that he was traveling so fast down the street. He wasn't. He was in the limit for the amount of per mile that he should have been, which was 30. But the kid, when he shot in front of him, an oncoming car was going faster than what he was supposed to. So when he hit the kid bounced off the oncoming traffic and died at the scene. And he just could not get past it. He just couldn't. So he started out with heroin and wound up doing meth, and that's when I lost him. But you're his conscience, and he needs you, and you're aware of it because your relationship doesn't suffer because of it. So it's almost symbiotic. But I like the way that you're able to be that conscience for him when he needs it without really pushing him, because they really have to make the decision to help themselves for themselves. And you're aware of that. And I believe he knows that. And I think with you being there for him, that he'll make the right decision as long as you are there for him. And I think that was really beautiful. That is, your freestyle is just great. I wish I could do it. I got to write stuff down. My mind is like 40 north. If I don't write it, it will speed trap itself out of my brain. So I have to do it like now.
Me too, yeah.
I'm Walter Mitty 24/7. That's just me. I can think of it, I can do it, but I gotta write it down.
I'm the
I
opposite.
think people who can freestyle are great.
I'm the opposite. I have to, if I write it down, I will never revisit it. I will never. But if I leave it here, one day I'm bored, I'm driving, or I feel the way that I felt that day, I'll revisit it and then write more on it. And then maybe a week or more later, a month down the road, and sometimes these pieces take 8 months to write. It's not a spur, but you're right.
That's kind of how mine is. I mean, I write it down, but it takes me like I revisit it. I'll write a line here, and then I'll go back and revisit that line a while ago. I have a friend that I met when I was in one of those placement homes I was talking about, and he is one of the most fantastic freestylers I've ever met, and he's just so good. But he just can't write. Like when he sits down with a pen and a paper, like his mind is like he can't come up with anything. Like, you know what I mean? But just so we used to record him so that's how we would save it, is we would record him. So that he would know it or whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna be a famous rapper, and that's gonna be my thing. That's gonna be my shtick when I go out on stage. It's gonna be something different every time because I never fucking remember my shit. Shout out Stephen Lavoie, my boy. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's a crazy ability that you have to be able to just keep that all like backed up on that internal hard drive. Nobody's ever gonna hack your stuff and delete it unless you let Elon Musk into your brain.
I just get hit. Yeah, if I get bumped on the bean one day, it's all gone.
Yeah.
They're recorded now. I mean, they are out now, so they exist elsewhere these days, but just not written.
There you go. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet too. Is once it's on the cloud, it's there forever, and someone can always get to it. But yeah, man, thank you for sharing that with us. That was great.
Thank you.
Catch you again in a minute for your second piece.
Sure.
All right, and that brings us back to Mr. Sierra.
Yay.
What's the second piece you're doing tonight?
This one is an excerpt from Kidra Book 1. This is a scene that I wrote about. My main character in here is Mathu. Mathu is one of the most vile, maniacal, evil. I don't know what else to describe him. There were certain times when I wrote him in Kidra that I was just shocked that I even had to talk to him and say, wow, you're foul for that. But Kidra is a daughter of Dracula who did not know that she was his daughter. She was born and raised in Africa. And Mathu went after her. He decided he wanted something pure in his life, but he wanted a mate. So when he went to Africa to see her, she didn't know what he was because she didn't know who she was and what she was. It had been kept a secret from her since birth. So when he came at her and he was like, I want my pay internally, she was like, I'm not you. I've got my own plans. I don't know who you are, why you're here, but that's not going to happen. So he was enraged that she would dare turn him down. So over the family decided that they had to get her out of there because he was killing off people in the village for each night that she wouldn't come to him. So to save the village, the grandparents whisked her away to the Americas and crept into his crypt at night and poured dead blood down his throat to kill him. Which with vampires, it's like a slow cancer that burns. It starts to take away some of their abilities. For him, he lost his ability to smell. Vampires can smell each other. He can't find her. He can't smell her. Some of his powers is gone. So the only way that he knows where she is because now she is a concert pianist. She's wanted all over the place. She's very famous at what she does. She's well received. And that's the only way he can tell where she's at. But he's also killed off every lover she's ever had because he feels that if you can't have me, you can't have anybody. So now his feelings have changed. He now wants her dead. He has figured out that one drop of her blood will restore him. So his thing to flesh her out, since he can't really get to her, is to build his own legion. So this scene is him starting to build that legion so that he can use that against her.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to drop myself out of here so you can get to it.
She was sitting outside by the lamppost. The streets of Hollywood were almost empty. It was raining outside. She didn't come up with the money that she needed in order to take care of herself, and she would be evicted from her apartment. Debbie never thought that she would pose this question to herself, but she didn't want to start her new job she wasn't going to start her new job for 2 weeks. She didn't have the clothes to wear for that job, and she was alone. Earlier that evening in her apartment, she prepared herself for what she thought was her only choice. For the last time she spoke to herself, this is just one time. She put on the black skirt and pulled the stockings up to her thighs. She wore no panties. She put on a white midriff top and pushed her breast into 2 sizes too small top. She pulled her hair back into a ponytail and put a little makeup on her face. She looked at herself in the mirror. She picked up her coat and went out into the night. She needed the money, and she was going to get it. She walked by the 3rd block. It had stopped raining. She stood on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. She held her breath and waited. She knew she could make a lot of money in one night if she had the chance. She waited around for 3 hours. It was past midnight. You could be here all night. She turned around and looked down the alley she was standing by, but saw no one. A man in a car drove up, and she was going toward the car. That's a cop. Just look at him and say, "Good evening, officer." She turned and looked out the alley and saw no one, but she could hear his voice. She hesitated, but she believed what she heard. "Hey, cutie, want to ride?" She stood hesitant, still not truly convinced. "Good evening, officer. Can I help you?" He looked at her, figuring he had been made, and then drove off. "This isn't for you. You walked away from this life. You don't have to taste it. You don't have the taste for it anymore. You wouldn't be able to go back to it. You don't have the heart for it any longer. You can't get the money you need by standing on the street. I can get you anything you want. I can see to it that you won't need money at all. All you have to do is use your power, and you'll have people begging to do things for you." "You don't know what you're talking about." Debbie walked down the street, went to turn the corner, and ran right into the man wearing a long coat and a hat. She went to turn from him. She noticed that he was back at the same alleyway she had been standing next to before, as if she never moved. "No one has ever appreciated you, Debbie. No one has ever paid the slightest attention to you. You give and nothing gets noticed. All you ever wanted was a thank you for what you do for others. Your husband Albert never gave a damn about you except when he wanted to waste himself inside your body. You were his faithful wife until he betrayed you, and at least you lie with a man that there is purpose. You exchange yourself for a fleeting moment of comfort, and they say thank you with the money they leave behind. The stranger stood in front of her with closed eyes, moving his hands up and down without touching her. She could feel him touching her body underneath her clothes. They moved over her. Her skirt lifted up one side and slightly revealed her nudity. The midriff top slid down and exposed one of her breasts. He took his finger and stuck it in his mouth, and her nipple became red, as if it had been sucked. He continued roaming over her body, yet without putting his hands on her. She closed her eyes and let it happen. She groaned deeply from within. Not in her lifetime had she ever felt anything like this. Then the voice of 1,000 whispers spoke to her. I will appreciate you, protect you, and make you queen among women. I will give you what you want when you want it. Just give yourself to me. She opened her eyes. He stretched out his hand, and she floated towards him, following him down the alley until they came to a corner concealed from view. He opened his coat and revealed his ravaged body to her. His face was next to hers, missing flesh, dying, blackened lips withdrawn, his throat a creation of dark, fall-smelling flesh. She looked at him and saw a tall, handsome man with long hair, tan skin. He was wearing a tux and leather coat draped around him. She was all he dreamed, and his touch weakened her. His voice was intoxicating. As she was drawn to the man who would understand her needs, he looked like he was capable of taking care of her, the way that she wished Albert had done, that would make love to her giving body every night. She needed that closeness. Yes, she said meekly. His tongue, black and deformed and diseased, filled her mouth. It slid down her neck and found the pulsating beat of her heart, rushing blood through it. He let his tongue linger there, and then he slid his long, black, thick, rotting tongue up and down her body. It went down her throat, underneath her skirt, and touched her between her thighs. He elevated her and allowed his tongue to travel as he turned her to the wall. He rotated her body back to him and pushed her back to the wall that she was facing. She put her legs around his neck. His tongue was tasting her, the softness of her. Methu was in an evil, lustful state. He raised her higher against the wall and pulled her legs wide open. She looked at him. While his tongue continued to rub against her, he moved his hands underneath her body and raised her pelvis up to him. I will take care of you. He bit into her mound and took her blood. He was taking it all from her. He was choosing her. You could see the color escape her. She was pale. The constant whispering of him saying, I will always take care of you, kept the intensity of her growing pain from escaping her mouth. She moaned in ecstasy, her blood being drained from her entire body as she climaxed. Even though he was taking her blood, some of this was escaping through Methu. He brought her dying body down from the wall and looked at her. He grabbed her by her throat and brought her close to him, stuck out his tongue and pierced it. She looked at him and smiled and opened her mouth and took his tongue to hers, sucking the dripping blood from it. He almost let her drain him. It's erotic to him. And he then let her body drop to the ground. He looked at her on the ground for a moment and then squatted down next to her and said, as he smiled, come to me when you waken. He walked away laughing into the night.
Wow. That was fucking fantastic. That was grotesque, horny, visceral, fucking intense, just it was grotesque and it was horny at the same time, and it was so great. It was so great. I think it's gonna I think that there's a lot of teenage girls out there that are gonna just eat that book off the shelf. That's like it was like, it reminded me of like if Twilight were like good, you know? If hear me out. If Twilight had more like depth as far as the magic system and the lore of and even like, I mean the description and how he was using his powers and all that kind of shit. Like if it was almost like Twilight if it was like really cool for fantasy nerds, you know. And I really enjoyed it. Like vampire stories are some of my favorite fucking stories. And I loved what you did with that. And vampires, you know, that like that's their thing. They're supposed to be seductresses. They're supposed to be succubuses. That's what the word succubus means. And I mean they are supposed to feed the two things that in all cultures, no matter what story, Japan or Greece or whatever your vampire story of choice, two things they have in common is that they're seductive and that they feed off of life energy. And I love how what you did with that, how you play with it, and the description of his body, like really fucking did it, because it's this very like, you know, seductive scene, but then you're picturing like his rotting flesh with the like, and like I'm just picturing like a hole all the way through his throat, like I can see his like, you know, trachea or whatever, and you know what I mean, like, and then just the description was so well put and so visceral. It was great. It was so fantastic. I loved it so much. I'm gonna bring James and Mr. Biggs up here. What do you guys think?
I like you said. So when you said that what she saw versus what was really happening, and I was imagining what's really happening, like, oh, this poor girl is being duped a little bit. You know, her senses, and how, you know, he wasn't even touching her at first, and he was making her feel this immense pleasure. And that's even before you painted that picture for me of, when you painted that picture, like you said, like you picture his neck, like you could, like, I could picture just, like you could see his tongue and his neck working in there as he was performing those acts on her. I wonder what that would look like on film. That would be crazy. That'd be something to see.
Yeah, that would be a great movie or a show. Call up Netflix. Email, give me Netflix. That's get a feature series. That's the way to go. James, what'd you think?
I know Anne Rice, and you know, she passed away, I think, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and I know she'd be rolling in her grave right now saying, I've been knocked off my throne. That was fantastic. I really was drawn into the whole scene. I felt I was there with the vampires. The imagery was there. The Your dialogue just flowed so well. Yeah, it just drew me into it, and that I just kind of went, wow, you know, Anne Rice would be very proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I think my wife would enjoy that book. I think my wife would enjoy it.
Really? That's
I think
book one.
so.
There are 3 in the series, and what's really funny is that when I first wrote it, I had no intention of writing a book 2 or a book 3. I was so worried about your fans can track you by your character and not by your genre, and that's why certain writers can only write one type of theme. So they'll have book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because they can't go any further than that. So it wasn't my intention to even do a book 2. And then my business manager had been after me for like 4 years. You need to write a book 2. You need to write a book 2. And I'm like, what for? And he said, because if they ask you for it, you're not going to do it. You're going to leave money on the table. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. But then one night I sat down and I reread it. I reread the whole novel, and I'm like, okay, it makes sense to write a book 2. And so then I started writing book 2. And then in the middle of book 2, after I was trying to answer everything that was questionable, you know, sometimes your novels leaves you questions that you want to bring closure to. So I said, okay, I'll do book 1 and I'll book 2, and that'll be it. So I'm sitting here trying to put closure from book 1 and book 2, and then realize, fuck, book 3, it's not going to be enough. It's just not. And then I sat up there and started writing it. And the quirky thing about that is Kendra by itself, book 1, was actually published before, but the publisher got ill. And when she got too ill to carry it on, she released us all. So I had self-published her on Amazon. When I came up with book 2 and book 3 and got ready to go ahead and post it on Amazon, that's when I got contacted by Christine Gray. And she's like, I want to offer you a contract. I got you. I got you. And I'm like, really? And she was like, yeah. And so that was my first contract. My only problem with that is that after I did book 3 and I thought I covered everything and everything was fine, I brought the closure, it was done, I didn't have to worry about it, wasn't going to be a 4, 5, or 6, this was it. I had a fan contact me and said, what happened to one of my characters because she wasn't in the battle? And I'm like, get the hell out of here. I had to go pull book 3 and read it, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I left Kayla out. So now they're asking me about a book 4.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
His name book 4. His name book 4. Kidra, what happened to Kayla? Kidra book 4. What happened to
I
Kayla?
would have sworn I brought closure and killed everybody that needed to be killed off until she wrote that in a comment in one of my reviews on Amazon. And I'm like, yeah. So now I don't know yet.
They're always gonna poke holes. There are always gonna be holes.
I was so mad because I really
but-
thought I killed it.
That's my wife's favorite thing to do is to watch television shows, movies, what have you, and then say, "There's an inconsistency. There's an inconsistency." Her voice change. Can you tell? Could you tell that she wasn't using the accent that she was using? And she'll like compare them, and I'm like, okay, yes, okay, yes.
Watch it. There's a little bit of movie magic here.
Right.
I did that with if you've ever watched the series House that used to come on, you will see as the seasons came on, he played a joke on everybody with that cane, because at one point he was using it to steady himself on the right leg. He would actually switch it over to the left on purpose.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they kept it in there. And so I understand what she means when she says consistency, because now that I'm an author, I see that and I'm like, oh heck no, come on. You couldn't do it better than that. And I've caught stuff like that. But when he pointed it out, he was on Graham's show, and he was like, did you ever mess with the audience? And he said, yeah. He said, sometimes I would walk with the cane on the right, and then I would turn around and walk with it on the left. He said, and nobody said anything. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm gonna notice that now. I love House. I haven't watched it in a while, but
Okay, you gotta go rewatch it to watch it.
yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah, you will see it, because I caught it, and I'm like, yeah. And it's just like with Big Bang Theory. When they're driving in the car, it looks like they're in a foreign car. The wheel is on the passenger side on some of the shots. Do you notice that?
Yeah,
You notice that? And then there'll be other shots where it should be on that left side, on that passenger left. But when they started filming them in the car, it was like he was in a foreign car. The steering wheel was always on the passenger side front for a minute. And I questioned it. I even sent a question to that. I'm like, why is the wheel, like, is he in London somewhere and he's supposed to be? Why is the driver's side wheel on this side? They never explained it, ever.
So you've never messed with your audience on purpose?
Sometimes I'll do. I'll mess with them on purpose. Yeah, it's funny to me to do that, to see who catches it, and it's always funny. And
I've done it a couple times. I've messed with my podcast audience a couple times, and very few people have caught it. But then sometimes they'll get messages like, I see what you did there. I see it, just like a little message. I see what you did there. Or I got that. Like. Yeah.
It's fun when you can do that. It really is.
There was
paying attention.
The genre that you're writing for actually is more effective with art therapy than a lot of the other fantasy type books. There was 10 years ago in Psychology Today where they ran a survey of patients that were using art therapy, and I think it was writing fantasy versus not horror, but what would you call it? I'm trying to think of romantic horror, I guess. Is that what you would call it?
I write in horror romance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, it was more effective in helping people through difficult times than Harry Potter novels. They felt
Just
that,
help me do some hard times, okay?
yeah. And people, I think, were able to relate to the characters better than they did with the Harry Potter series. So a lot of instructors I know will introduce like Twilight and that series to young adults to help them get a little grasp of interest into art therapy and reading and cognition that helped a lot of patients overcome depression and anxiety.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
It is, and that's a fantastic method too. I love that. I mean, especially with all the methods nowadays. That I mean, we're just pumping kids full of drugs at this point. That's what our method has become. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that in a world that has figured everything out, supposedly, we have yet to figure out a lot of things, and I think we need to start trying other forms of therapy. And I think that like this, what I do, this is a form of therapy. And when you're writing by yourself or sculpting or whatever it is you do by yourself, that's your form of therapy. And like I've been saying all along, like that's what it is, and that's what it needs to be first and foremost. And I feel like as artists we kind of have like I'm a big comic fan. I always say with great power comes great responsibility. We have this great talent and this great ability to make art, and I think it's therefore kind of our responsibility to use it as that therapeutic thing for ourselves and for others, and to try to get the world on a better path by maybe making them try other forms of therapy or other coping mechanisms like art therapy and learning to express themselves more, and not keep everything bottled up, especially for men. Men, it's like we are supposed to just put a stopper in it and fucking shut the fuck up, and I think that's very toxic. And art therapy is one of the things that makes men be able to be very vulnerable and very open, and that's what I love about it the most. I mean, women too, obviously, but just speaking from my personal experience as a man, it is one of the few times in my life that I can actually be open and expressive about what I actually feel. So
Yeah, the environment has definitely changed, and what used to be just can't be done anymore. It's just a powder keg of emotions that men just weren't allowed to admit that they had. And it's like you said, if you were growing up in my generation, you were just told to suck it up. Men don't cry, and you're not a man if you are expressing your emotions. You just can't do that anymore. Men have become powder kegs of emotions that it's okay for them to express that fear without being looked so negative on. They're human beings before they were males. You have to have an outlet. You have to. You cannot keep that bottled up because it will destroy you. And so we have all these men now that are expressing themselves. And I know that it's like letting the steam out of the kettle. It's got to feel good that you're able to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling this today. I'm not feeling this. I'm not doing this. And it's okay to do that and voice it, because they weren't allowed to before. And it was just absolutely crazy. The environment that we have now, completely different back then, completely different. You can't bottle that up anymore. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're human, because that's exactly what that is. It doesn't matter that you're male or female. What matters is you're human. You have that emotion. You need to emote that emotion. And there should be no stigma or no harness around your feelings just because you're a man. It's just dumb. It's just really dumb.
Absolutely. Well put. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for reading. That is going. Sorry about that. My computer. That's going to bring us back around. So it was supposed to be Brandon in second place, but the order kind of got messed up. So James, you got another for us.
Yeah, yep. Now this one here is actually my eulogy, and I think my good friend Betsy is on the YouTube channel watching this. Hopefully, she's going to be the person to deliver it. It's based on a song by Terry Jacks from the 70s called "Seasons in the Sun," and a lot in that song speaks to every aspect of my life. I was born a little bit before the 70s, and I've recorded it. I've put it in a safe deposit box with instructions to be played at my funeral. I sat down one day and really was feeling depressed and didn't really see a lot of light in my life. And I wrote this poem with the song playing in the background. And I do this a lot. I will listen to a song over and over again, and then I'll write and reflect on that poem that I'll write as a reflection of what that song meant to me. I've done Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. I did Bette Midler, The Rose. Trying to think. I did a lot of Freddie Mercury with Queen, Morrissey, and so I've read a lot of poems based on inspirations and reflections of a lot of songs. And this one, of course, for my eulogy, was written to that song as a reflection of my life. So let me bring this up here.
All right, and I love the title, by the way.
Yeah.
My birth, my life, the end, forever, goodbye. Fantastic title. I'm gonna drop myself out of here and let's get to it.
All right. My birth, my life, the end, forever, goodbye. We've lived our lives, we've laughed and loved, we've danced in the sun and sung in the rain. But now our time has come and we must say goodbye and leave this world behind to ride the seasons in the sky. The wind whispers secrets of days gone by. The trees shed their leaves and the sky cries the night. The sun sets in the west and the stars appear in the sky. As we lay our hearts, our souls to rest, we'll ride the seasons, we'll dance in the sun, we'll sing in the rain, and we'll have fun. For though our time, sorry. Now I lost it. Sorry. All right. There we go. And so we'll ride the seasons of the sky with the love we've shared and the memories we've made. And though we must say goodbye for now, we'll meet again in the seasons of the soul.
That was
I shouldn't have picked these hard felt poems to read. It's got me all shaken up.
You know what, man? I love it. Like I was saying just a minute ago, I love that we're able to be vulnerable and open, on this show and in life with our artwork in general. Just it is honestly an honor to witness your tears and your emotion. And to have it on my podcast, that's really an honor for me because that's what I strive for with my podcast. Not to get people to cry, but bring out their emotion and to connect with them on an emotional level. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and these two poems that I've shared are very powerful emotionally for me, and it really touched every aspect of my soul to bring these images out and to really reflect on what matters most in life and what have I done with my life and just kind of bring it all together.
Yeah, man, I definitely understand. I definitely understand.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And that was beautiful. Hopefully you keep reading it for many, 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 many years to come. And your friend does not have to read it anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
But that is as a eulogy. It's very sad, but also again, it like your other piece. It had your other piece of poetry. It had this uplifting, like we'll meet again. I love the last line. What was it? We'll meet again.
We'll meet again in the seasons of the soul.
I love that. I love that. That is beautiful. As I have a lot of friends who have passed away. The closest of which is my mother. She passed away in 2020 of a terminal lung disease, and it's just. I wrote a story a while ago that was like one part of the story was this guy's dream, and then the other part of the story is his family sitting around him while he's in a coma, and then like in his dream he meets up with his mother who's dead, and like has a conversation with her on like a picnic blanket, and she's like, I'm having trouble even remembering what I wrote, but essentially it was, I'd love to sit here on this picnic blanket with you all day and talk, but you have more to do, and the world needs you. I actually wrote that because she was sick since I was 8 years old. She got diagnosed when she was 28. I'm 20. I'm 22 right now. I'm almost the age she had me when she was 20. I'm almost the age she was when she got diagnosed. I wrote that before she passed away. It was one of her favorites, and it kind of reminded me a lot of that. Of just carry on. The world needs you. We'll meet on this. We'll meet on this little this blanket again someday. So I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna bring these other artists up to see what they thought of it. This is just dirt. This is not. This is just dirt. Nasira, what'd you think?
That was a very loving, soft goodbye. That was emotional as heck. I'm over here trying to maintain my mascara. That was really, really beautiful. When I was in nursing school, there was a lesson that we had to learn that was called Death and Dying. And our teacher, to me, brought it to us in that same manner, where we had to write 2 paragraphs of what we wanted the world to remember us by as we died. There was not a dry eye in the house. We each had to stand up and we had to read it out loud. Yeah. And it was emotional.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It is. Because when you have to really think about what have you done with your life, and this is it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was very emotional. That did exactly what it should have done. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brennan, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The We Will Meet Again in the season of the souls. I like the way it closed out. I like the dancing in the sun. And when you said that, I didn't picture. I guess at first I was picturing just the sun shining, and you maybe we're in like a beautiful field. But then I pictured you having ascended to heaven. And my idea of heaven is like it's almost like a Mario 3 world where you're up in the clouds, you know, and
Yeah.
you're walking on these clouds and you're dancing in the sun and you're kind of a part of the sun in a way. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's fun that you've gone there with yourself, you know, that you've had to face that reality due to your battles that we were talking about earlier with cancer, that you have actually got to the point where you're like, hey, you know what, I'm going to write this. And to have a friend, and you mentioned a friend was going to be the one to recite this, of course, should of course they be there. Hopefully they are. That's awesome that you have that person.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was amazing.
And
Thank you.
you know, I think the hardest thing in poetry is always how to end it, and end it in a way that ties everything you wanted to say and more. And a lot of people that have mentored along the way to write poetry always find it hardest to close the poem. And I always tell them, look in your heart, and what did you say? Say it again, and bring hope.
I love that. Oh my God, hold on. Say that again. Say that.
Oh, that was on a fly too.
What did you say? He said, what did you say? Say it again and bring hope. And that is literally, that is how I write my pieces. I go back to the beginning of my piece.
Yep.
Because I was always taught, like when you're writing an essay or whatever, you restate your thesis in the conclusion. So that's how I write my poems. I restate my thesis in the conclusion. And that was said so elegantly. Say what you said again, but add hope, because a lot of my pieces tend to start off dark and gloomy, and then come to this hopeful point at the end. And that's exactly how I write my pieces. I go back, I restate the beginning, and then I add hope. And I love how you stated that. That is fucking perfect.
But on the other hand, if I'm writing dark poetry, the macabre and the dark, gloomy, the evil, I tell them, say it again, come from the heart, but leave the question open. And Edgar Allan Poe, in a lot of his poems, always left you questioning.
Oh my God. Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favorite of all time. A lot of people don't know this about me. Like I read Shakespeare. I read Edgar Allan Poe. Like I listen to Johnny Cash. Like I'm not the typical 22-year-old. You could say. Don't get me wrong. I also listen to hip hop and rap. Good hip hop and rap. No, I mean, what I mean is I completely lost track of what I was saying. Wow, it's getting late.
You're well-rounded. You're well-rounded.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It is, you know, I kind of pull my experiences from everywhere. You know what I mean? But Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favorite inspirations, and just yeah, I did this piece not too long ago where I mentioned him and no one got the reference because I said I rhymed his initials EAP with something and no one actually got the reference, but it was like one of those little things where I like, you know, I drop in there to see if, you know, who will text me and be like, oh, I caught that, you know. Yeah, shout out to Edgar Allan Poe.
And it's his poem The Pit and the Pendulum is the best example of how to close dark poetry. Perfect. And it ends in such a good question. It leaves it in your mind going, what the hell? You know, that's, you know, the sauce, the secret sauce for dark poetry is to end it again with question. Leave the person questioning.
I like that.
That's unsettling. People don't like to, you know, sit there and be unsettled and unsure and such. So it gives it that eerie, gloomy, macabre.
Yeah, I like that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Stick around to the end of the show so I can, say goodbye and thank you one more time. That being said, we're going to hear from Mr. Biggs one more time, and then I'm going to spit a little bit for you, and we'll get out of here. So what do you got for us?
So exactly what we were talking about is what I have for you is the dark poetry, how do you end it? And this poem is about a friend of mine who took his own life back in 2020 during COVID due to COVID, man. He was really lonely. He was depressed. He had some substance abuse problems. And, I saw it. And I told my friends, our little friend group that we have, I said, guys, something is majorly wrong with him. And we need to, y'all are being dicks basically by saying, well, if he's late or whatever, we're not going to bring him along. And I said, whatever, we can't do that. And I wish I would have done more, because I recognized it. But this is what I did. I actually wrote this after he had taken his life on the night of my son's birthday. We had his birthday party, and then after midnight that night is when he had taken his life. So technically the next day, but still that night. And I had wanted to invite him and my other buddy over, all of my little friend group, because they were like family. They're over here all the time, and we're hanging out, and my son knows them. And but my mom was scared of COVID at the time, and so I didn't. And I you look back and how can you do things differently, and coulda, shoulda, woulda, and all of that. But this poem is a letter. It's basically his suicide note, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm happy to share that whenever you're ready.
All right, I'll get myself.
All right, cool. So all right, I'm gonna sell this one because it's very emotional. So let me see if I can sell this to you here. Dear friends, I hope you never fully understand why I decided to do what I did. I just wanted you to ride with me like Do or Die did. It's true. I was invited, but I wouldn't get too excited because my brain would tell me to hide it, so I hid. I withdrew from the crew. But just know there was nothing more that you could do to revise it. I get, bless his heart from all them Baptists I bet. Man, some of these days are hard. This was the baddest one yet. All this emotional baggage, I feel like I'm saddled with regret. I just sat like a broken package on my steps while toking drags of cigarettes. Man, I've spoken with the devil. He's evoking me back into my bed where I have to battle him in my head. And I'm sorry for babbling, but I just get frazzled and I'm embattled at best. I just see black and then it's red. My eyes roll back into my head. Then I picture you back with me in bed. Yes, press your back against my chest, my arm wrapped around your breast. I still smell the tobacco on your breath. But into madness I've regressed because there's no one lying next to me, and I know that life is testing me, and I guess I'm just bad at test. I want to go back and see my dad. He passed when I was just a lad. You see, I've been dealing with this for so long that I no longer want to be sad or depressed, and I'm glad I got that off my chest. And then a snap, I'm at rest. Sincerely yours, I digress. P.S. I tried my best.
God damn, bro. Wow.
Just a tough one.
And yeah, and you did sell it. You definitely did sell it. The emotion, it was all there. But again, I mean, your rhyme scheme and your flow just astounds me. It blows me the fuck away.
I've been studying for years, man. I've been studying rhymes for many years, and I like you said, I listen to good rap music.
I'm what I like to call a word nerd.
Yes.
Like I am very into like, what you can do and how you can play with words, and just I appreciate your skill, man. It is fucking phenomenal. It is phenomenal. And the emotion and the performance in that. This is the second time I'm going to compare you to Joyner Lucas, but again, it reminded me of Joyner Lucas, where he has, like I was saying before, he had those two sides of the conversation. And man, it almost felt like you could put those two together and make a full song out of that, because on one, and I know they're about two different things, two different friends. But with a if you you know, from a story perspective, one of them is the friend talking to the other friend, trying to drag them up, and then on the flip side of that is, you know, the friend who is lost and it's their suicide note or whatever. And obviously, you know, what Lord help us, we don't want to jinx your other friends, so we'll knock on some wood.
Right.
But,
No, I mean, we all have our struggles. I actually wrote that over about a 4-month period, and I had to think about it every day. And the way that I do that, I try to go into your mind, into you know, all of my pieces. I try to write from a perspective, so I have to see it from your perspective. Therefore, I have to think like you. Therefore, I have to, you know, I have to study you, and I have to really just get in there. And you know, there was one night where I was like, this is it for me, you know, and I'm happy. That's the thing. I'm so happy. Like I have a wife, I have a son, you know, I'm very blessed. I have a couple of, you know, my family loves me. I no longer, you know, I no longer do things that are detrimental to my mental health. But I was drinking at the time and things like that. But, you know, it's so easy. It's so easy to slip. It's so easy to slip down that path. And I realized how blessed I am. And I appreciate the comparisons to Joyner Lucas, because he's absolutely amazing. I listened to a song of his the other day that I listened to it and I go, it's the one where the dude's getting robbed. It's like the dude's getting robbed and he gets shot and he dies. And then it tells the story from the shooter. And you're like, what the hell did I just listen to? Run it back. And then you're like, wow, that was amazing. That's really amazing. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back after the show and run your shit back too. And that's something I always do.
Apple Music, yeah, I mean, you can snag it off of Apple Music, throw it on the phone, listen to it in the car. There's others to go along with them too that are really good. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I went to your page earlier, and I seen that. I mean, the one you sent for your flyers on there too. What is it called? Holy moly!
Holy moly! Yeah, holy moly!
Yeah. I love that one. I love you. You are a fucking fantastic artist, from presentation to rhyme scheme to cadence to just, you're the full package, man. It's fucking great to have you here. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm happy to be here, man. This is fun. I mean, this is fun, and hanging out with other artists too, and people that appreciate things of this nature is awesome. I don't get around a lot of, you know, there's not a ton of like-minded people around on a Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't put together a foursome. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate what you're doing, because I couldn't put together a foursome of people that are talented like this and want to have a discussion about these things, because I'm enjoying this.
You know what, man? And what I was saying at the beginning about, like, sometimes I try to put together people that will fit with each other. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it's just whenever these people are available. And honestly, this one was and just ended up being the three of you were available on this day.
Right.
So I scheduled you all together, and that has happened honestly more times than not. And it always ends up, I sit there after the show with Brandon, and I'm like, man, that's crazy, because I'm nervous before the show. I'm like, oh, these people are they going to get along? Are we going to vibe well? Is it just going to be crickets? Like, you know what I mean? And then every single time, without fail, people just come together in this way, and that is just so fucking, it blows my mind. And it's not even the power of podcasting, it's power of art, really, because, you know, and that's like, that's why I combine the art with the talking and the podcasting, because it makes it like it's like peanut butter and chocolate, or peanut butter and jelly, you know, two halves of one whole, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great place, and I just love being here and meeting new people, and, you know, learning their stories and connecting with them, and it's just amazing, man. This is amazing. Thank you for being here. I'm bringing these other guys up, see what they thought of your piece. Nasira, what'd you think?
I loved it. It's very emotional, very true to heart. The flow is just exactly what it should be for the expression of it, and it it's touching. It really is. Having to be around someone and have them in their life like that, and you're aware of the emotion and all of that that goes into it. You knew that something was off, and you knew you couldn't stop it, but you essentially, in spirit, you were there for them. You were really there for them, and that's what makes it beautiful in that respect.
Well, thank
Oh.
you.
Did we?
Yeah, James, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I was. Hats off to you, and you've mastered the art of taking that dark poetry and ending it fantastic. I mean, Edgar Allan Poe would just roll his eyes and say, "He's got it." I really felt the content that you developed in that, and I actually got goosebumps on me, and it was kind of eerie because I've seen many people also that passed away with COVID. Um, it just brought back those memories that I had witnessed, and it just spoke to me again. It was fantastic. Well,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you all.
Yes.
I'm going to wrap us up here with, and I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do two pieces, mostly because I'm just indecisive. I can't decide. I picked out one piece for the show, and then based on like the vibe of how I was feeling, I pulled up another piece that kind of goes more in line with what we've been talking about. The first piece, I'll do the piece I picked out first, and then I'll do the more emotional. They're both kind of emotional, but then I'll do the more emotional one that goes in line with kind of what we've been talking about all night, as far as just I mean everything, the dark poetry and ending it with hope and using it to try to be better and uplift yourself and other people and just all of that. But anyway, this one that I'm going to do first is called Brick Walls and Pitfalls. This one's a little more lyrical, a little more like a lyrical miracle kind of shit. It deals more with my chronic sense of writer's block and how I deal with it and how I write, essentially, how I pick up the pen and use what's in here to get started. So this is called Brick Walls and Pitfalls. I try to pick up the pen and pretend I'm an artist, but I just stick to the trend of not getting started. This brick wall in my head has become a new constant. I feel sick. I'm in bed using these meds trying to find a new process. Because trying to process my losses and all of this constant nonsense is making me feel like my consciousness is lost in the darkness. The monsters and skeletons deep in my closet, they spin me in circles. They're making me nauseous. I'm at war with my demons. They're taking me hostage. They torture my feelings. They're making me watch it. My terror attacks and my heart is the target. And now suddenly I am back where I started. Back on a bender till I fall on the carpet. Back on a battlefield, putting shots back for my dearly departed. And during the day, you can't look at my face and tell that I'm empty and hollow. But look at the page and look at the bottle. Because I always say that I'll try tomorrow. So the booze was erased and the words they were swallowed. Then puked on the ground. Now I am face down while I lay here and drown in my sorrow. And I don't know why every verse that I write starts with me trying to survive in my mind and ends with me crying, passing out, puking, or dying. I've got everyone gasping and sighing like, why can't you write something happy? Write about goals that you have and write about making them happen. Write us some scenes where you're laughing. Why do you always fall back into this gloom that you say that you're trapped in? I told him I'm glued to the blackness. Like a symbiote suit, we're attracted. I'm all for the doom. It's fantastic. But you should marvel the way that I mask it in public like Superman's glasses. Because I'm the comic relief for the masses. But my origin story is tragic. Because I was told to always hold back and hold on to the rage and the sadness. I was told that I had to be passive. So when I get mad, it's been making my ego get massive. I'm turning green, breaking free from the evil and smashing the walls I put up in my head to the ashes. Because now I can finally master this passion. See, this is the scene you were asking to see. This is the scene where I'm laughing. This is the scene that'll be the most graphic. No true to your piece, you can see me almost almost ready to snap and you'll tweak when you see me. You're about to go savage on the demons and doubters and naggers, because that's how I see my way out of the deep shadow of doubt from my past. When it falls on me like a shroud and my world gets darker than I imagine it would be, when everything around me blackens and it feels like I walk down the path that's surrounded by trees with the reaper peeks at me from between the saplings. But there ain't no route around it. That's the street I stand my ground in. It's the only place my feet feel grounded. What I mean is being proud to be myself is the only way I'll be able to get through this hell and leave my enemies all astounded. And that is Brick Walls and Pitfalls. What do you guys think? I think we lost James. I don't know what happened. But
that was lyrical. Yeah, that was really lyrical. You painted the picture, the monsters in the closet spinning me, making me nauseous. I liked it. Puking on the ground. So, oh gosh. And then you got the people. Then you got the crowd coming in, talking to you. Like, why can't you do it like this? Be like this. Be this. Be happy. Why can't you just be happy? Well, I can't just fucking be happy because this is me. You know. So cool.
Yeah, I can't be happy because I have another line in another poem where I'm like what are you gonna do when the demons are gone? Because it's like, to me, I feel like I need that darkness to be able to write. You know, that if I'm happy, like, what the fuck? Well, I'm just gonna write about skipping on the beach and fuck. What do you know what I do when I'm happy? I fucking like play video games and read books and fucking hang out with my family. Like, it's boring. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear about the boring everyday fucking happy shit. They want to hear about the fucking darkness. You know, at least that's my curse to think that. I know that's not 100% accurate, but it's my curse to perceive that about myself and my work. I guess. Nasira, what'd you think?
I think you were killing me softly. You spoke exactly what I have gone through as an author, when people were saying, you know, why are you always with the horror romance? How come you can't write love stories? Why can't you? Because it's not me. I have relished in the horror genre ever since I was a little kid. It has always fascinated me. And I've had people tell me that nobody was going to read my stuff. It's like, it's not going to happen. You're not writing like you should write. And you have to be yourself. No matter what it is, you have to be yourself. You have to be true to yourself. And that's what that spoke to. You're not going to conform to what other people say that you should do. You have to do what makes you driven and what drives you and what satisfies you. And I have had people tell me that, you know, it's not going to work. It's never going to get published. I've been rejected a total of 175 times.
God damn, that's persistent.
For Kidra alone, 175 times. And I have had people tell me no one's going to read it. It's not poignant enough. The ending is just, you know, leaves open too many doors. And I'm sorry. I knew what I had. I knew that it was going to hit. And it has. That one copy alone, that book one, has sold over 15,000 copies so far to date. Just that book one. Book two is right behind it, and book three is right behind book two.
Fuck the haters. Exactly. I was on another podcast or show, almost just like this one, only bigger. This past Thursday night. Shout out to Near Eureka Poets Cafe, and the show that they put on every Thursday night. It's fantastic. It's a lot like this one. You guys should check it out. But I was on there, and one of the things we were talking about is how everyone will try to put you in a fucking box. Mm-hmm. And the whole world is just made up of boxes, and everyone will try to put you in a box. And we, as artists, have to say, "Fuck the box."
Right.
Fuck the box. You know, we're sitting here right now. We got 1 box, 2 box, 3 boxes right now. But like, we are more than our box. That's that. Not in a dirty way either. Not in a dirty way. But yeah, thank you for your feedback, guys. That was awesome. I'm gonna do one more piece here, and then I'm gonna get us out of here. Okay. All right. So this one is again, like I said, in the line of what we've been talking about all night, and I'll just get to it. It's called To Be Better. And I named it after the name of another podcast, which is a husband and wife who sit and they talk about just life and ways to better yourself, and better your relationship with your spouse, and better your relationship with your friends, and just be a better person. And I was watching a lot of that when I wrote this, so I named it after that. But it's called To Be Better. Lately, he feels like his feelings are constantly stomped in the dirt because he doesn't feel heard. He screams because he doesn't know how to express it at first, and he speaks to the walls with his fists because he doesn't have words. All they hear is him cursing and going berserk, but inside he's beginning to question his worth. He's dying inside, but he's trying to hide what goes on in his mind, and he's trying so hard to keep a hold of his pride. So when he's alone and the feeling is right, he picks up a pen and he writes down a line. Then he gets stuck and just stares at the time, wasting his life while the hours tick by, wondering why he is stuck in one place and he can't seem to break himself free of this bind. But lately, he thinks that this may be a sign. He's beginning to think that he can't even write. He's ashamed of himself, but he can't ask for help because everyone else might be able to tell that he's going through hell. Then he might have to come out of his shell. Then he might have to admit he's not well, and he knows it's more easy to yell till he loses his voice and then blame someone else, but he's really been trying to stop lashing out, so he closes his mind and he locks up his heart in a cell. And nobody knows his emotions are closed when he gets in that zone. Nobody knows he shut them all out so he can't be exposed. Nobody knows there's a place that he goes where there is no light and it's bitter and cold. A place he can hide, it's the deepest of holes. Nobody knows that his soul has been sold to the darkness within, though it's right there at the heart of his sin and it bleeds from the tip of his pen. So it's hard to pretend that there's light in his head, because every smile he fakes makes it harder to grin, and every fight with his darkness makes him sure to win. He hates being awake, but at nighttime is when the demons come out because he can't keep them in. They beat on his heart and they scratch at his skin. They tear him apart until he just gives in, does whatever they want, and then starts the self-hatred all over again. And that is the reason he can't ever sleep, because he's scared of the things he might see in his dreams. He's scared his subconscious might replay the scenes of him hurting the people he loves with his deeds. So he tosses and turns in his bed, thinking of things that he shouldn't have said, wondering if he could have just taken a breath. If he could have sat down and just counted to 10. If he could have held on to his temper instead of giving in to the hate and the anger again. It's a fight to be better, and he's trying to win. But he's seen lesser battles destroy bigger men, and he doesn't want to be better than them. He just wants to be better than the person who picked up this pen. And that is To Be Better. What'd you think?
That was great. I like that.
Thank you, Brandon. You got my fucking title up, bro. Word. You're the man. Yeah.
I was like, close.
That one is, I wrote that, God, almost a year ago now, but it is still like so personal to me. And I mean, even like today, like literally not today, but literally this day, it is relevant to me in a way that like I recently just without going into too much detail, I kind of went off on somebody that I shouldn't have, and it was wrong, and every time I do that poem kind of comes to my mind, and it just like I just try to use my talent to be better than the person who started writing it, but better than the person who picked up the pen.
Yep, that's exactly why I call myself mistress to the pen, because everybody, when you are writing, you're always trying to, or at least I am, I'm always trying to be better than the last novel I wrote. And it's like chasing that high. I'm never gonna hit that high that I had when the first book came out, but I'm always going to try to be better than the last one that I wrote. And I think that's the only real challenge that I have, because the way my mind works, and I'm always like a water midi 24 hours a day, I'm always trying to outdo the last thing that I've done. And that actually speaks to that when you say that you're trying to be better than the last person who picked up the pen. That would be me. I'm the last person who picked up the last pen.
Right. That's what I mean. And that's right. And that's what I was saying at the end about, I don't want to be better than them.
Right.
I just want to be better than me. I want to be a better version of myself, and that's with each piece that I do. I try to work through something. And it doesn't mean that I'm gonna have solved this problem in my life. It just means that I have, worked through my thoughts on the subject. And I try to bring some kind of closure, at the end of a piece. But like James was saying, endings are notorious,
Yeah.
notoriously hard. But yeah, yeah, like you were saying, it's just about being better than what came before, what you did before, not anything else.
Right. Like a
Right.
friend that I heard this gentleman say one time, he says, at the top of every mountain is the bottom of the next hill. And you're always trying to get to the top of that mountain. And then there's another one that you can also climb. So you keep trying to climb it. The only struggle that I have, and it's not really a struggle, but it's just, I got to be better than the last one that I put out. And that's just truth. That is. You got to be better than the last person who picked up the pen.
Absolutely. Thank you for understanding my message. Biggs, anything you want to add?
No, I think she nailed it there. I love you got to be better than yourself, and I'm that way, with my stuff too. There's so many things that get shelved. There's so many ideas that don't get, it's like, okay, this is good, but is it good enough? Is it good enough for what I want to represent myself as? So, but I think that you're good. Yours, you need like a little beat right there, like just start hitting. I was over here. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah,
like,
I have. So I write all my stuff a cappella for fear of finding a beat that.
Oh, rapping. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm scared of finding a beat that I like too much and not being able to license it, and being too attached to that beat to the point where I can't do the piece without the beat.
Right.
And that has happened before, and I've had to. I took that piece and I had to literally do basically a form of speech therapy on myself to get it back to the way it sounded when it was just a cappella.
Right.
And so currently in my situation with like licensing beats and not being able to find many cheap ones or free ones or whatever. And I am learning how to make my own, but that's a slow process. But yeah, no, my plan is I have a bunch of those basically where they're like raps, but they're a cappella kind of poem form raps. I have a bunch of those. I think about 15, and I'm going to make a little mixtape. It's going to be like a little acapella spoken word mixtape. So that's coming soon to Lostboys near you.
Yeah, do it. It's awesome. That's exactly what I did. Do it. So all you got to do is do it.
Yeah, it's in the works. It's I'm still ironing out the kinks and deciding exactly what I want to do, and then I got to figure out an album cover. Like that's the most important thing, like the cover, what it looks like, and I got to get a great artist, which I have one in mind. She goes by Skedaddle. She comes on the show regularly. I think she was on last week, and I have talked to her many times, and I believe that she's going to be my artist for my album cover. So, yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed this.
Absolutely. Thank you both. And thank you, James. I know we lost you cut out or whatever, but thank you for being here, everyone. Make sure you guys go follow every single one of these guys, and make sure you guys tune back because they will be back here. I will get them back on this show. They're just fantastic artists. Some of my new favorite artists. I mean, Nasira was already, but you two guys are some of my new favorite artists for the show. So we'll definitely see them back here again. Make sure you go check out the show. Like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Brandon, can we get it up here? Thank you. Audible, iHeart, Pandora, all that good stuff. Check out our sister show, Deep Cuts. Check out this summer our adventure vlog, Lostboys Presents Lost in the Woods with me and Brandon. And catch us next week, Saturday, 9 p.m. right here, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch now. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, live, 9 p.m. next Saturday. Peace out, guys.